Hi, Carl Bogar here with Historic Military Impressions. We are in New Windsor, Maryland with the Traveling Vietnam Wall. And I had a gentleman bring in something that was so unique that I decided to do an impromptu video to share it with our audience. What he brought in was a matchlock musket that was in favor until 1600's. As a matter of fact, in the United States, in Maryland, the matchlock musket stopped being used in 1630, being finally replaced by flintlocks by 1640. So I was going to share it with you. A little closer. Basically, it's all handmade, hand craftsman, all machine screws. There's no manufacturer on it, just because of how early it is. I love how that barrel is fluted and expanded out a little bit to help seat the ball a little bit better. But basically, this is our first firearm. Matchlocks and wheel locks are extremely rare. This is the first time I ever had the opportunity to hold one, and I'm very thankful for the gentleman who shared it with us. His father-in-law was an avid firearm collector, and when his father-in-law passed, he inherited the collection. But basically how this worked was, right here, you have this little pan, and in that little cup, you would fill it with gunpowder, and you'd close it until you're ready. The match had to stay lit at all times, and this wick could actually be 10 feet long and then wrapped around the barrel. As you kept it burning, you would actually turn it down a little bit to make sure that this is like lit here. Normally it would be flared out like this, but imagine trying to keep it lit in the rain, in wet weather, in wet conditions. It would be very difficult. That's why when the flintlocks came around, it was a better firing system and they replaced them. But when it was time to fire, basically you would then open the pan. Notice how crude the trigger is. You would just squeeze the trigger, lowering the match down into the pan, igniting the black powder, and at which time this little porthole right here, a flash would go through there, igniting the charge inside the chamber, and ultimately then pushing your projectile downrange. Notice how crude the sight is, the rear sight, and ultimately you could barely see how it's raised a little bit for the front sight. Like I said, an amazing piece of history. I've only seen them in movies and stuff. I don't think I've ever actually seen one in a museum up by us. But when you're out east with a history that goes back into the 1600's, you can find more really cool artifacts. Earlier in the morning, a gentleman brought me a Civil War pistol. I told him it made my trip. Later on in the day, he came in and said, well, now it's second place because someone undid you with a matchlock musket. So, okay.
What about the eye?
Oh, right here, there's two eyes engraved in it. They look like messianic eyes, like the Eye of Providence. So there might have been a Mason that owned this, that put it on there for good luck, good karma. But an amazing piece of history. So, Carl Bogar signing off for Historic Military Impressions here in New Windsor, Maryland with the Traveling Vietnam Wall. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, please like, share, and subscribe to our Facebook and YouTube channels. And I look forward to seeing you when I get home. Thank you, and I hope you have a great weekend.